everyone, my name is Zaira and this is going to be my video presentation on my topic, which was on family separations such as deportations and the implications that it poses on both children and parents, and lastly going over the challenges it poses on the family unit when there is a deportation. In further details, I plan on going over those implications such as the physical, psychological, emotional, and behavioral challenges that both of these individuals face, and lastly just tying it all together with how all those challenges change the family unit. I think this information is rather important to know because as future professionals in the community, we are going to deal with all sorts of families, and especially immigrant families. I think it is best to be well informed in order to well educate and provide the best service to them. Now, looking over the present trends in immigration in the United States, I think it's important to consider these factors as all of these statistics show how important it is to recognize that there are many considerations in understanding families in the United States. Regarding the psychological challenges that this may impose on children, it is important to note the research such as by Soros, Orozco, Bang, and Kim 2010, and by Rojas, Flores, Clements, Huangku, and London 2017. They all note very similar conclusions that children face mental instability and findings of symptoms very similar to PTSD that can attribute to the children's overall depression and anxiety. Now, regarding the emotional challenges that children face, I think it's important to note the narratives behind children who have faced the deportation. In the same research by Soros, Orozco, Bang, and Kim 2010, they highlight the story of a Dominican girl who had stated, quote, "The day I left my mother, I felt like my heart was staying behind. She was the only person I trusted. She was my life. I felt as if a light had extinguished." In an article by Darby 2012, they also report in their findings that children who had witnessed their parents get deported displayed excessive crying and a frequency of fear and just an overall grief. Now, regarding the behavioral challenges, Lovato 2019 examines children between the ages of 6 to 11 and 12 to 17 who face loss of appetite, sleep, and aggressive and withdrawal behaviors. Lovato further mentions how all of these changes in behavior also affects the parenting styles of the parents. Now, considering the parents' well-being, such as the psychological challenge in the research provided, they report that U.S. undocumented Latinos experience fears and stresses of deportation, exploitation, and distrust and trauma. Present politics of deportation and anti-immigration have led to those exacerbated fears and anxiety. Now, considering the emotional challenges that parents face, I think it is important to note this story that I found in my research. According to a parent, she states, "It was very hard above all to leave my children when they were so small. I would go into the bathrooms of gas stations and milk my breast till overflowed crying for my babies. When I think about it, it makes me sad." When considering this story and many other stories, in similar research, they found that parents who are separated from their children or from a deported spouse face depressive symptoms and as well as prolonged stress. Next, now considering the challenges on the family unit, it is important to note that the family dynamic of these individuals face big changes with roles, parenting practices, and the family unity. One of the most profound findings in the research was the added sense of increased accountability and responsibility within children to help the family with their loss. Parents as well report that they feel vulnerable and essentially disempowered with any legal position that they are found in. In turn, this alters the parental practices and the influence that they have on their children, such as being either too strict on their children and enforce certain behaviors in which the children may not understand. Findings on undocumented parents, they show that their expectations to children was to not draw attention to themselves and avoid any legal problems. Children grow up believing that getting in trouble can cause their parents to get in trouble, which is a lot for a young child to bear. To conclude, it is important to note that there is no one solution in regards to deportation and keeping families together. However, it is important to note the activism that is behind deportation and family separations. It is important as well to note, such as in my research, I concluded that a solution that can be provided to these families is means of a reasonable pathway to citizenship, protection, and promotion of the children's rights, ensuring that there is appropriate measures in keeping the families together while there is deportations or legal matters to be issued. Families are crucial to our development and as well as our overall sense of well-being. And in this presentation, I hope you were able to see the challenges that both parents and children face when there is a family separation. It is important to be well educated and be advocates for those who are not able to raise and speak their voices. Thank you so much.